This is the NBA on 2K Sports. Welcome, folks. I'm Damon Bruce. It's Tuesday Hoops, and it's next. It's Kevin Garnett and the Boston Celtics going up against LeBron James and the Miami Heat. And now it's game time to call the action. Here are Kevin Harlan, Steve Kerr, Clark Kellogg, and Doris Burke. I'll be back with the HP Halftime Report.
Welcome, fans, to the NBA on 2K Sports. Kevin Harlan here with our analysts Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. So happy you've joined us. The starting five. This is our lineup brought to you by State Farm. First for the Celtics, Rondo and Allen make up the backcourt. And fill in the paint, the big guy, Jermaine O'Neal. They utilize his abilities to maintain that presence under the rim. Then it's Pierce, and it's Garnett in at the four-man position. And for Miami, Chalmers and Wade to the one and the two. And the man in the middle from UNLV, Joel Anthony. They look to him to provide that necessary presence down low. Then it's LeBron James, and it's Bosh in at the four.
Well, we all know what a fiery, competitive team the Celtics are, with Kevin Garnett in particular. And that's one of the reasons they were second in the NBA in technical fouls last season.
And so the tip-off, it's Miami. Now, here's Chalmers. Crafty move. And Anthony with the lay-in. Anthony's got his team on the board to start the game for the Heat. And so speaking of the Celtics, you know, some have said, Clark, that they go overboard getting into it with other teams, players. That wasn't your game, but take us inside that whole world of the player.
You know what? I don't know if the Celtics do it any more than any other teams. I mean, Kevin Garnett is very demonstrative, has been since he's been in the league, and that intensity sometimes spills over. And I always felt that you had to be who you were. You couldn't try to fabricate something that wasn't part of your natural makeup. So if you are a guy that's verbal and a jaw-jacker, then you've got to do it within the parameters of what's going on in the game. If you're not, then you can't be that to try to improve your performance. So I've always said, like the young folks do, you know, do me, be you, you know?
And let's get this update now from Doris Burke, who's across the way on the sideline.
Guys, I caught up with Doc Rivers for a minute. I asked how they're planning to handle one of the more explosive offenses in the NBA, and he responded by saying they'll do everything they can to force their stars into shots they aren't comfortable taking. They know they'll still score points, but making each look as tough as they can is their primary goal, gentlemen.
Thanks, Doris. Well, Clark, that's a potent offense they're up against right now. They know it.
You know, I wouldn't doubt that we see them make a few adjustments on the move over the course of the game, in the flow, making changes.
Well, they're going to have to make some adjustments as the game goes along. This team is too dynamic offensively to deal with by playing one style. So the schemes, I think, will change according to how the game's going.
Pierce, rebounded by Anthony.
Well, with only one attempt so far falling, this is not looking good. 1 for 4 so far.
Bolster was in a really odd and tough position last season. Never before had there been a bigger free agent talent swing, and he was tasked with getting 3 huge superstars to mesh as a unit. He's done a nice job.
Garnett dishes to Allen. Just 5 to shoot. Pierce. Again, Pierce missing. Back to Spolster because he was the first coach, Steve, to deal with that much talent. He had some very unique situations pop up along that road.
Well, he sure did, Kevin, and he had to coach that team under a microscope all season long. And the basketball world was watching, and that Miami team went through some ups and downs. But in the end, I think Eric Spoelstra did a fantastic job, and he looks to be one of the bright young coaches in this league. You see that as soon as there was an opening, he threaded the pass right through it.
LeBron outside. The dish to Bosh. Garnett hits the reach-in call. That's his first foul. And the Heat with some changes. Haslam comes in for Joel Anthony. And Mike Miller subbed in for Dwayne Wade. Kristich, he's checked in for Boston. West comes in for Rajon Rondo. Here's Chalmers. West picks him up. And here's LeBron inside. That's the bucket. LeBron's now got 8 points.
What a start it's been for them from the field in this game.
You know what? It's early, but if they can keep shooting at this rate, Steve, they'll run away with this thing.
So the Celtics call timeout. They're first.
And when LeBron joined the Heat last year, guys, I think he really wanted to play with a scorer. You know, LeBron's more of a playmaker, a guy who creates offense for others. And I think he pictured himself teaming up with Wade to be the backcourt of the future.
Post it!
Here's Garnett looking for his first bucket of the game. West kicks to Garnett, defended by Chalmers. The inside shot, that's good. Going back to what Steve said about LeBron and Wade, Clark, it got a little contentious there, it seemed at times.
Well, you had to expect that to happen, Kevin. I mean, again, 2 outstanding players, 2 brilliant players trying to figure out how to play together. The fact is that LeBron, by his nature, is comfortable deferring. He loves to set other people up, and he's comfortable also taking over when needed. So I think the fact that it took a little while is overblown because that was to be expected. It's not something that was going to come together quickly and at a high level.
Both can be unselfish.
Exactly, and Wade can attack, and LeBron is fine watching him do that.
Looked like he hit him on the release of that shot, so good call by the official.
Very easy one there. It sends him to the line for a pair of free throws.
And the first one drops.
And guys, an interesting offseason for LeBron James after he made that move to Miami. A lot of people questioned his competitiveness once he decided to join forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh.
Glenn Davis is checked in for Kevin Garnett. And that one goes in. 2 from the line that time. You know, back to what Steve said about the big 3. Clark, you know, it might be a fair question as a lot of NBA greats ask the same thing.
You know, Kevin, I can understand people debating it, but I don't know if it's necessarily fair, quite honestly. I mean, the fact that LeBron wanted to be around other good players, to me, speaks to his maturity and his comfort with himself.
He just wants to win.
He wants to win, and he understands that he can be a winner and be more true to his service nature as a player. I mean, he's a guy who doesn't mind deferring. And even though his talent is brilliant, he's not afraid to defer.
Gets the bucket from 20 feet away. LeBron's now got 12 points in the game. And here we go with Delonte West. Lets it go with a 3. And as the first quarter wraps up, already a double-digit lead. Heat lead by 10.
Now the key has been the rebounding department. This club dominating the paint area. And if this continues, they'll be in great shape.
Well, they've done 2 things. They've limited second chances, and they've been able to flex their muscle down low.
Don't go away. We'll see you in a moment. Well, not exactly a close game so far, but as the second quarter starts here, plenty of time for a comeback. Here's Rondo, still looking to get on the scoreboard.
You know, the big 3 in Miami had a tremendous amount of success in year 1. They didn't reach the 70-win mark, which I think was crazy for people to be talking about anyway, but they still managed to get 58 of them.
And Doris Burke has something for us. Hey, Doris.
Guys, Chris Bosh has always been on the slender side for an NBA big man. He said, quote, "I guard guys every day feeling like I wish I was that big." but I'm not going to try to be something I'm not. One thing I've learned, just be who you are. I can help this team more by just playing my game. I can shoot the basketball. I work off mismatches. That's what I've always done. And guys with great dribble penetrators like LeBron and D-Wade, a face-up four-man like Bosh, probably a better fit than the type that's going to clog up the paint.
Yeah, his great skill level has always been his edge. Thanks, Doris. Back to the Heat. 30 of those wins were at home. Very strong team, Steve, in Miami.
Well, that home record was good for third best in the Eastern Conference, and I think they're actually looking to improve on that record this year.
4 on the clock. Here's Haslam. Bounce. Gets whistled for a loose ball foul. That's his first foul.
That's an over-the-back foul, but it's one that you can live with. He's trying to be aggressive, and I like that.
Yeah, you know, I used to do that as a player myself, Steve, but you've got to be smart about going over the top. I don't think he had a chance to get that rebound anyway.
The Heat making a switch here. Miller's checked in. Then for the Celtics. Pierce comes in for Jermaine O'Neal. And it's Allen in for Kevin Garnett. And the shot is good. Pierce has got his second basket of the game.
Well, it was a dismal start from the field for them in the first quarter, but they're finally starting to turn it around.
Well, I don't think it could have gotten any worse, partner. I mean, you figure they had all their bad misses out of the way and should be good to go now.
From 11 feet away. And that one's good, Anthony. And the Heat lead by 6.
Boy, I like the fluidity I'm seeing from them on offense. It's a thing of beauty. Fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. They're moving the ball well, finding the open man, making that extra pass. They're playing very unselfishly right now.
Allen for 3. Gets it to go.
You can't just get a hand up. You've got to anticipate what he's doing before he shoots.
You know, for Glenn Davis, Kevin, last season was the best of his career. I mean, he managed down on getting shot blocked and upped his field goal percentage as a result.
And Miami calls their first time out of the game. Well, Glenn Davis not the longest guy at the power forward, Steve, so you knew it would be an adjustment for him scoring in the NBA.
Yeah, he's a very interesting player. I mean, he really doesn't have any lift at all, doesn't score over the top of people, but he finds a way, creates angles, he uses his strength and his agility and his soft hands, and he just figures out a way to get the shot up.
A different look for Miami. Chris Bosh has checked in for Joel Anthony. LeBron comes in for Udonis Haslem. And it's Chalmers in for Eddie House. Then for the Celtics, Jermaine O'Neal's checked in for Davis. Garnett comes in for Jeff Green. And Delonte West is subbed in for Ray Allen. Here's Bosh. He's picked up by O'Neal. And Jermaine O'Neal pulls it down. They are right on the brink of taking the lead.
This is a critical juncture in this ballgame, Kevin. Well, you look at the Celtics a season ago, they went 23-18 on the road, and well, that would be a good mark for most teams. That was Boston's worst road record in the last 4 years.
Here's Chalmers. Feeds it to Wade. And the rejection by O'Neal. The Celtics on offense. They're on an 11-2 run. Okay, well, let's check in with Doris Burke reporting from our sideline in this game. Doris, take it away.
Well, Kevin, some may have questioned Coach Eric Spoelstra throughout the 2010-2011 campaign, but LeBron James was sold from the get-go. His quote towards Spoelstra, "I have Coach Spo's back," or whatever the case may be. James said, "This is who we have." Sounds like he's confident enough, Kevin.
All right, Doris.
Yeah, I think Eric Spoelstra did a really good job under very difficult circumstances a year ago. And by the end of the season, I think he really earned the trust of those players.
Steve, just talking about that Celtics road record. You think, Clark, that is something to be concerned about, 23-18 away?
Kevin, you know, probably not. I mean, on their overall record, they gained 6 wins from the previous season. If there's any concern for the Celtics, it's probably the question of age and how much do the big three have left in the tank. But it is interesting when you think about it. Last year, when they felt, the year before rather, when they got to the NBA Finals, they didn't feel concerned about not having home court advantage in the Eastern Conference because they had been so good on the road.
Sure.
So that could have maybe put a little chink in their armor in last season's playoff.
Now a timeout called by Boston.
Well, the big story, of course, a year ago for Miami was the formation of the big three, LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. And although it took some time for those three to click, eventually they figured it out.
And the Heat with some changes. Joel Anthony's checked in for Miller. Haslam comes in for LeBron. Eddie House subbed in for Dwayne Wade. Then for the Celtics, Jeff Green. He's checked in for Pierce. And it's Allen in for Rajon Rondo. Here's Allen. Allen, right side. He kicks it to West. Defended by Chalmers. Backing down is Green. 6 on the shot clock. O'Neal passes to Allen. Shoots the three. Busted. No good that time either. Steve, back to what you said about Miami. They struggled out of the gate. They were 9-8, but after a rough November, they kicked it on in December. And Clark, I think really the game that kind of spun them around was their first LeBron appearance in Cleveland in the win early December against the Cavs.
Yeah, that was an impressive win. I recall that. That was almost like an NBA Finals type atmosphere in terms of the media attention and so forth. But in that month, they went 15-1 and really seemed to find their rhythm. And quite honestly, never looked back.
Garnett backing down. Post-up shot. And here is O'Neal. Allen outside from downtown, and the shot is good. Allen's got 6 points in the quarter.
I like the job they're doing. A much better job of getting him involved in the offense here in the second quarter.
And Chalmers kicks to Bosh. Shoots it up. Great D that time from Green. And the first half comes to a close in a tie game.
Hello and happy Tuesday to you. It's been a great day for NBA action here on HP at the half. The Heat are giving it everything they've got. They've been airtight with their defensive rebounding, no second chance looks. For LeBron, it's been way too easy against Boston. By himself, he scored over half of his team points. What does that tell you about this guy's ability? Looking at Boston, they're definitely making plays as well. They've gone to their bench for the spark, and it's fired. Big scoring off the pine. Getting it done early, Kevin Garnett. He has 6 points. Just as important, he's been shooting with excellent efficiency. Some great play out of these two in today's action so far. They'll look to carry on that play into the second half. That's it. Time for us to wrap things up and get you on back out to the second half. Kevin, Steve, Clark, and Doris, thanks so much for tuning in.
The third quarter now beginning. Both sides looking to pull away in the last half of the game. Here's Allen. Outside Rondo. Now the pass to O'Neal for the lead, and he finishes on the layup. O'Neal's got the first basket of the second half here for the Celtics. Miami trailing. Now Chalmers. He's picked up by Rondo, and Chalmers kicks to LeBron. Rebound Boston. Garnett's got 6 rebounds now in the game.
You know, you take a look at the makeup of the Heat and the offensive numbers last year. Not a ton of assists. A lot of free throw attempts, FTAs we call them. Seemed like they just played to their strengths, and a lot of that was isolating their star player.
Here's against LeBron. Here's Chalmers. Yes, and it's LeBron picking up the assist. Well, Clark, you mentioned that stat about the Heat. Steve, surprising they didn't have more assists.
Well, they didn't have a true point guard running things. Mike Bibby was more of a jump shooter, same with Chalmers. But I think a lot of it is that they play very isolation-heavy basketball, as Clark mentioned.
Well, he's showing off his defensive instincts by making plays just like that.
The Celtics with the lead. Tipped.
So a couple of poor possessions now in a row consecutively. both times turnover. That's not productive basketball. That's not winning basketball.
No, Clark, you start stringing errors back-to-back together, you lose all momentum in this game. Looking back now to the 1998 draft, I'm sure there are some teams that picked ahead of Boston in that 10th spot that would like to do that one over and maybe take Paul Pierce, because he slid down that draft a little further than people expected, and he's become an absolute superstar for the Boston Celtics.
Chalmers is tagged with the reach. That is his first foul of the game. Udonis Haslem, he's checked in for Joel Anthony. Kristich, he's checked in for the Celtics. Davis comes in for Kevin Garnett. And here's Rondo, looking for his first bucket of the game. Allen for three. The shot is off, and it's the Heat taking it the other way. They've led by as much as 10. Thinking back to Paul Pierce's draft out of Kansas, even at that time, it was somewhat surprising to see him drop like that in the rotation.
It really was. I can remember thinking about Paul Pierce and how I thought he was the one guy in that draft who really had a ready-made NBA positioning game. And to see him slide, that's why the draft is more art than science. But at the end of the day, you know what? It's all about what happens when you get to the NBA, and he's proven to be a Hall of Famer.
And historically one of the great Celtic scorers of all time.
Without question.
And then Wade slams it in.
Now that's what I'm talking about. That's how you do it. Find a gap in the defense and attack that rim with force.
He is so good at doing just that.
Maybe as good as anybody. Just so athletic and strong.
Rondo with it. Good luck. Here's Pierce. That's good on the assist by Rondo. 9 points for Paul Pierce.
Well, look at Doc Rivers' coaching numbers, and he's been nothing short of amazing for Boston here. I mean, already over 500 wins in his career as a coach. Really impressive.
Timeout called, the Heat. One more thing, Clark, about Rivers. He's been fantastic as a coach in the postseason. Steve, he's at a winning percentage of over 500.
Well, add in the title and plus the 4 straight 50-win seasons, and it's easy to see why Doc Rivers is considered one of the best coaches that we have in the NBA right now.
And the Heat making a change here. House is checked in. And a change for the Celtics. O'Neal's checked in. Here is House. Now here's Wade. Now Pierce defending. Wade dishes to LeBron. Straight up. He buries it. LeBron's now got 14.
Well, that's been nice, efficient work, guys, that he's been doing. I mean, we haven't seen him take many bad shots, and that's the sign of a mature, poised player.
Allen outside.
I got ball!
Shot clock at 6. And he slams it home. Here's the replay on the Sprite Slam Cam.
Now that's just rubbing it in, fellas.
Throwing it down was Stein.
These folks are not going to forget that one anytime soon. Ray Allen is such a talented player. Had those early years in Seattle where he was brilliant. But in Boston, he really found a role on a great team.
And he makes the free throw. Clark, you know, when you talk about the Celtics defining Allen's role a bit more, and that's what good teams do, isn't it? Clearly defined roles for players, even better ones like Ray Allen.
Kevin, you're exactly right. And, you know, Ray became a much more consistent defender for the Celtics. I mean, you see that, and as you define roles, you can rein players in, and in some aspects, you can push them to do more in other areas. I think we saw it with Doc Rivers and Paul Pierce.
Sure.
From an offensive standpoint, encouraging him to be more of a playmaker and a bucket producer.
Back to O'Neal. Over Bosch. O'Neal misses.
Well, neither team has really gained an edge rebounding-wise here, and the score reflects that.
Well, one team can start hitting the boards harder. I mean, it'll give them a good chance to pull away.
Here's Bosch, and it's Miami with another.
Well, they've really picked up the intensity here since halftime.
I think they got the pep talk in both teams now, really going after each other.
Pierce inside the three-point line, and we've reached the end of the third quarter. Just a terrific game so far. What can you say, LeBron James? What an impressive today.
Yeah, he's done a great job of finding the soft spots in that defense. Very efficient game for him so far.
Yeah, and I like what he's done, Steve. I mean, he's made a couple of jumpers here or there, but what he's really done impressively is allow the game to come to him.
We'll be back momentarily. And now let's send it to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke, for our Sprite Spark of the game. Doris?
And Kevin, for that great stretch the Heat put together, they get the Sprite Spark Award. In that last quarter, things started falling their way, and they clearly have momentum on their side as we head down the stretch in this one. We'll see if they can maintain that same kind of intensity they just showed us in the third period, guys.
Thank you, Doris. Everything really clicked for them, Clark, during that run.
Yeah, it sure did. I mean, it ignited them offensively.
To the point, Clark, where they were really in complete control at that end of the floor.
And there's Miller outside. The shot's good on the assist by Wade. Miller's got the first points up on the board here in the fourth for the Heat. Pierce against Miller. Davis, the pass to West. Pass to Rondo. And Pierce backs in. The fadeaway. Basket is good. The assist from Rondo. Rondo's got his 7th assist of the game with that last one. Haslam a screen on West. Wade can't hit.
Tough miss. I mean, not much defense. He had a really good look at the hoop.
Outside Rondo. That's tipped. It's stolen by Anthony.
And look at how quickly he got his hands in the way of that pass.
Miller against Rondo. And it's Miller picking him up. Here's Davis. They grab their own miss. And the shot is good from Garnett.
And I think defensively you've got to commit a second defender because he's just destroying you right now.
Yeah, one-on-one, he's been a handful.
Here's Chalmers. Miller, Pierce covering. Here's Wade, good. And Miller gets the assist.
Well, I love the way they've been attacking inside, Kevin.
All right, guys, they're getting a lot of points in the painted area, not settling for outside shots, and I don't see any reason to change strategy here.
Wade brings the double team. Back to Rondo. And stolen by Miller.
You know, guys, it's interesting. Such a good first half for him. Not one turnover, but since halftime, he's been coughing it up repeatedly.
Here's West. Back to Garnett. Now Anthony defending. And here's Pierce. And it's D. Wade with the rebound.
He lost his focus there, guys. That's a shot he should make.
He's covered by Rondo. On the wing, Miller. From past the arc. Tries again. Rondo gets a hand on. Haslam. Tough sequence there. They just couldn't get it to fall. Celtics trailed by 5. Vader on the way. Busted. No good that time either.
Well, he had to fade away there. The defense was all over him, and he got it off, just couldn't get it to go.
Now Chalmers. He's picked up by Rondo from the arc. And there's Miller. Good that time on the assist by Chalmers. Chalmers has got 3 assists. Time the Celtics decide to talk it over. They trail by 8. There's 1:17 left here in the fourth quarter. A moment to check in with Doris Burke. Doris?
Guys, over that last break, I listened to Doc Rivers address his team. He pumped his team up trying to say, it's moments like these that you play the game for. Leave everything on the court and play like you know how. Guys, back to you.
Chris Bosh has checked in for Miami. LeBron comes in for Mike Miller.
Well, that was not an easy play, but he made it look routine.
And it's Chalmers that time on the assist by Bosh. And it's a 10-point Heat lead.
Check out the game for Mario Chalmers. He has 8 points, and he's connected on 2 3-pointers here as well.
Well, if his three-point shooting continues, this game will change dramatically because the defense will really have to adapt.
The free throw drops for Chalmers. 1:06 left in the fourth. Rondo kicks to Pierce. Looking to end the run. Cannot hit. Good D by LeBron. And here are the Heat. 11-point game. Haslam a screen on Pierce. LeBron against Davis. Wade fires. Yes, and it's LeBron picking up the assist. And the Heat lead by 13. And it's the Celtics with the ball, trailing by 13. Rondo dishes to Pierce. They double up Pierce. Garnett. Post shot. He lays it in.
Yeah, they're not going to miss too many of those. That's high percentage stuff there.
There's 21 seconds left to play in the final quarter. Wade with it. And so Miami takes this one by a big margin. You know, Clark, every team has a bad night, and these guys might want to watch the tape of this game the next time they have a bad night to remind themselves how dominant they can be.
Well, this is one of those dreamlike games for a coach.
Well, that'll do it. For Doris Burke, Steve Kerr, and Clark Kellogg, this is Kevin Harlan saying so long. We'll see you next time. And as we leave, we give you our Jordan Player of the Game, LeBron James.